super
It
creepy.
looks like somebody's Eastern European grandma fell over.
Yeah.
Guys, it's a terrible world out there. There are a lot of people who will try to do terrible, terrible things to you. Well, they might not have the server capacity to launch a game.
What?
Like EA.
What?
And
How are companies like this allowed to exist?
Well, you're not alone in asking that question, Max Scoville, because EA was just voted again the worst company in America.
Why are they still a company?
The worst.
Voting about it did something for it, I guess.
Democracy is
That
broken.
didn't immediately shut them down.
The second they're voted worst company in the world, dudes, Minority Report style,
Down
rappelling
from
from
the
the
ropes, yeah.
ceiling.
Yeah. So this was the poll on Consumerist, second year running, worst company in America, and of course, of the companies being voted on, those because the oil-drenched pelicans in the Gulf can't vote because they don't
Right.
have internet access, and the people whose homes were repossessed because of faulty mortgages or whatever.
Hey, you know what else? You know what else those pelicans can't do? They can't play SimCity.
Yeah, because it's always on servers in DRM
That's
or
true.
whatever.
Suck it, EA.
SimCity
Who did
hates
those?
birds.
Who did those pelicans worse? I ask you.
Those pelicans could have built their own new lagoons or something. But no, I mean that's the thing. I'm EA, kind of a terrible evil company.
Yes, not even kind of. Let's go ahead and say
Yeah.
they continually make bad decisions for the people who support them.
Right.
Yeah.
But they didn't take anyone's home away, and
No.
they probably didn't kill any pelicans.
Well,
That's still up for debate.
They killed that rat in Battlefield 3, and everyone got like 3 people got mad about
even
that.
you and I have thrown a rock at a bird by the office every once in a
We
while.
do that every Tuesday.
We
at
do that
lunch.
every Tuesday at Rockbird Tuesday.
Is that what that noise is outside my window?
Sorry about that. We hit a nest.
That is
last week.
actually not a bird. That is the noise that Max makes because it surprises him every time the birds take off.
But yeah. I mean, God, EA is. They make video games.
They do, and sometimes they make video games in a way that overworks their employees. Sometimes they make video games in a way that disappoint the fans of those games. Sometimes they make video games that straight up don't work for a while.
Yeah.
But I think there is a matter of perspective here, right?
Yeah.
Something that you can't deny about
Yeah.
this is gaming is the gaming community is a very strong community, and they care a lot about issues. So much so that they went to the Consumerist
Right.
and outvoted everybody else in the country to let EA know how they felt. You can't ignore that about this. That's pretty cool.
Activism.
Exactly.
Is what they call that.
Hacktivism.
Hacktivism.
Yes.
I don't know if
It's not hacktivism.
I don't think
just
they
like that
hacked.
word.
Slacktivism.
Slack.
Yeah.
That's-
Well, they
is that
did some
different?
work. Yeah.
Is that
they
a
did
similar thing?
Yeah, but so
Yeah.
the CEO of EA comes out and he goes, actually kind of a classy letter, I think, because he was like, yeah, you know what? We made some bad decisions. We've done some bad things. We have a lot of work to do. But he pointed out the same things that we just pointed out. He was like, but at the same time, we did not collapse the economy, and everybody still has their
maybe the economy of the Simpsons tapped out Springfield because there was a bug in there where you could get unlimited donuts if you did it right. But that might be slightly unrelated and tangential.
Well, so why are people upset with EA? There's I feel like you can break it down to a few different reasons. One, people feel like they buy up the developers they love and then ruin their franchises.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like ruin is kind of a strong word, but they do put that icky EA smell all over it. They don't have a great history of treating their employees properly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's EA alone.
No,
I think that's a lot of.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem in the video
Go look
game
at
industry.
Rockstar. Their games are awesome, but they're awesome for a reason. It's because people fucking work their asses off, for years at a time.
Yeah, it's very rare that
It's
people
a long
stay
way to
at
the top if you want to
Rockstar
rock and roll.
Yeah.
for more than a game, more than one
Yeah.
title. People usually leave.
Sometimes you got to rock and roll all night.
Yeah, and also,
And then continue to do so every day.
Sometimes you can party every day.
the last thing I was gonna say is that EA seems to have a distinct lack of self-awareness when it comes to their own evilness, and I feel like that makes them appear more evil than they actually are. It's almost like they're so dumb. It's like a child. You just can't be mad at it.
You know what it is? It's like screaming at a building. Like it's like
Yeah.
one person screaming at a building because the building
Right.
is ugly. Like
Right.
the building's there, the building exists, the building is doing its job as a building.
Yeah.
And the building doesn't
Yeah.
care that you think that it's ugly. I mean, that's the thing, is EA is so huge, and when you're that huge, I think a lot of PR people will say to you, look, we made a mistake, let's not say anything, because we're big enough to weather this, and if we say something, we're just gonna make it worse for ourselves, which is a terrible way to be, but it's the way that like all giant corporations tend to be, and I feel like we have, in the gaming industry, fewer giant corporations than any other sector of the economy.
And they're not like immune to fail either. I mean, THQ proved that. Like you can be a huge name in the video game publisher industry and still like be completely failing.
It's hard to think of I mean, you got EA and you've got Activision, and I can't even think of another company that is even like, everything else is kind of orders of magnitude
Yeah.
smaller, you know?
Take-Two,
Take-Two.
where they're kind of like,
Yeah.
they've got their little pocket companies
2K
in there.
maybe. They're still not as big though. I mean,
Ubisoft?
Ubisoft, yeah,
pretty
Ubisoft
big.
is huge.
Ubisoft
Yeah.
is pretty big, yeah.
But they are French.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
nobody expects much.
The
from
thing
them.
that bugs me is that gamers are so prone to getting up in arms. I mean, I guess that when I say gamers, I mean specifically the vocal minority who are the type to go on the Consumerist and vote every day. Like that's going to stop EA from making more games.
You know
as
what?
opposed to like, I don't know, making an effort to like expose them, and not just in like the kind of NeoGAF circle jerk fashion of like going with people who are like-minded, but as opposed to like maybe explaining to people who don't understand why EA is doing bad things, or hey, maybe just actively boycotting the games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
And
Is
that-
like,
yeah, that's what they said. That's what Peter Moore said in his letter. He was like, if you don't like our business practices, then don't support our games. It's that
Yeah.
easy. But people have proven by continually buying millions and millions of copies of our games that they don't really care
How many
what we
people
do.
pre-ordered
Right.
SimCities? Like pre-ordering games is the dumbest thing
Yeah.
because you do not know what that game will be doing, but you're throwing money at the company, being like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm here."
I think there's
Call
another.
me.
I think there's another thing within the gaming community, which is people care about games so much that they're quick. I think sometimes we can be very quick to vilify.
Yeah.
We can be
Absolutely.
super quick to vilify.
Even I fall victim to that.
Yeah.
We all do.
And I think, it works. There are two sides of that coin, right? Like when we are really into something and we want to help people out, it's a great community. It's a community that mobilizes, that gets together, that like really prides itself on attacking
It is a
things.
community that dual wields torches and pitchforks.
Yeah.
It can be very good at activism and very bad at it,
Yeah.
I feel. And like, I don't know.
So
this
I mean,
whole
it's just
whole-
passionate, right? It's just passionate,
Yeah.
and that's the thing is I think.
But it's like, it's almost anger. I feel like it's a need to be angry that is fueled by passion, but it's not the same thing.
Well, there's also this kind of weird impotence that goes with. I mean, you look at the Mass Effect 3 ending. Here's a series of games that provide you with so many choices and so much power as a consumer. Like you buy this thing and you can make it your story the way you want to do it. And then the second you have choice taken from you and somebody else being like, "There's your ending," it's like, "Oh wait, I didn't have control of this," and I can see how it might be kind of frustrating to come from. Maybe a virtual world where you have a control over the circumstances into reality where what can you do? You can hit fuck you EA on the Consumerist poll.
yeah.
And it's
Yeah. I mean, what can you do besides stop buying their games and writing them angry letters and getting banned from their forums and stuff?
I mean, they have Battlefield and they have sports. They're gonna have a lot of money from that because a whole lot of people who walk into GameStop and they're like, "Do I want to throw a football or do I want to shoot someone in the face?" I will have one of those two games up there.
Why can't you do both in any modern game?
Because
Sports.
they won't make another Mutant League football.
God damn it!
No matter how much I
Anthony,
ask them to.
this is what internet activism is for.
Everybody needs to boycott EA and go to the Consumerist and tell them that we want Mutant League I'm sorry, I just became a part of it.
I was gonna
apologize.
I was
I'm
gonna
really...
say Maddenfield 97 for no reason. It's a retro game. I don't know. I think Consumerist is one of the worst companies in America. If you ask me, I was voting for them on their own site. It's a shadow organization.